Hello everyone, I'm Wade, your new Cinephile host. I'll be taking over from Anna as she has returned back to the States. I have just completed my Taiwanese military service at Penghu during the past year. Yes, as much as I don't look like it, I am also Taiwanese. As a matter of fact, I went through the same English educational system as most of you up until primary school. But I'll tell you more about myself at a later stage. Today, let's talk movies. Valkyrie translated into Chinese is called 华尔齐利亚, a much longer movie title than its English counterpart. Valkyrie gets its meaning from Norse mythology, referring to a goddess, which Ruby, our teacher, will expand on later. For now, let me tell you a story based on real-life events of an attempted assassination on Adolf Hitler. Our hero of this movie is a colonel named Klaus von Stauffenberg. He is a German patriot, but with a conscience, as he witnessed firsthand the inhumane genocide of the Jews by the order from his highest national leader. The patriotic soldier realizes his vow is to be loyal to the people of Germany, not to the lunatic leader.
I was lying out there bleeding to death thinking, if I die now, I leave nothing to my children but shame. I know now there's only one way to serve Germany. In doing so, I'll be a traitor. I accept that.
In fact, at the time, there were a number of high-ranking German officers plotting to overthrow Hitler. They made as many as 14 attempts in order to negotiate a truce with the Allies to save Germany. Recruiting Stauffenberg was their next attempt. Stauffenberg boldly uses Hitler's own emergency plan called Valkyrie to set up the trap. This would force General Fromm, commander of the Reserve Army, to initiate a takeover of the country when Germany is in a state of emergency, such as an assassination of Hitler by SS. However, General Fromm had only his own interest in mind. He implied that he would only pick the side that suited him best.
You can tell your friends, Colonel, that I always come down on the right side. And as long as the Fuhrer is alive, you know what side that is.
With General Fromm's cooperation, Stauffenberg is transferred to the Reserve Army as the Chief of Staff. This allows him to reach Hitler in person. On June 7, 1944, Stauffenberg gets his altered Operation Valkyrie approved by Hitler. July 20th, Stauffenberg makes his way to the location codenamed Wolf's Lair, where Hitler is scheduled to have a meeting. This would also be where Stauffenberg places the bomb. It is all planned out. Stauffenberg would receive a pre-planned call which would allow him to step away from the death trap. Thereafter, boom, the bomb goes off. The blast took place after Stauffenberg had left the meeting. As confident as he was that they had succeeded, no one had any way of knowing for sure. Yet Stauffenberg insisted on initiating Operation Valkyrie and forced General Ulbrich to oblige. Using the authority of Commander Fromm, Ulbrich announced the death of Hitler and ordered the start of Operation Valkyrie.
The Führer, Adolf Hitler, is dead. A group of radicals in the SS are attempting to seize control of the government. Initiate Operation Valkyrie.
With the resistance group all working together, Stauffenberg takes control of Operation Valkyrie and implements it at full force, even though Commander Fromm received word that Hitler is still alive. Having the cooperation of the Reserve Army and the police, the resistance took over many government offices, including the SS headquarters, and arrested many Nazi party members. But this all came to a halt when the leader of the Berlin Battalion Reserve Army, Major Remmer, received a call from the Führer himself. That is when all hope was lost.
Do you recognize my voice?
Yes, my Führer.
Then listen to me very
Following this turnaround, the Reserve Army began arresting Stauffenberg and members of the resistance. Although Hitler had ordered the traitors to be taken alive, commander of the Reserve Army, General Fromm, insisted to convene a court-martial and execute the captured immediately. Operation Valkyrie had failed.
You're as guilty as any of us.
Spare me, Lieutenant.
No one will be spared.
Long live sacred Germany!
But in 3 months' time, the disgusted and harried people will bring you to book and drag you alive through the dirt in the streets.
Take him away!
The resistance was a movement initiated by people who had a conscience serving under Hitler's tyrannical regime. It was a fight for justice, freedom, and honor. This is an example for people living under similar dictatorships, that no matter how compelling the words used to glorify an unjust sovereignty, the essence of any totalitarianism is the same. So do you know why Hitler named the emergency plan Operation Valkyrie? Ruby, can you tell us what Valkyries actually are?
Of course, it'd be my pleasure. So the word Valkyrie was originally derived from a Norse Germanic language, Old Norse word Valkyria, which is composed of 2 words, the noun var, referring to the slain on the battlefield, and the verb yosa, meaning to choose. Together, the word Valkyrie means choser of the slain.
So they're like demons?
Yeah. Valkyries were originally viewed as demons of the dead to whom warriors slain on the battlefield belonged. They select half of those who die in battle and take their chosen ones to the afterlife hall of the slain, Valhalla.
Ooh, they sound scary.
Well, the Valkyrias actually became popular figures in heroic poetry later and were stripped of their demonic characteristics and became more human and therefore became capable of falling in love with mortals.
So, we've seen Valkyrie become subjects of various poems, work of art, musical works, and movies.
So you see, there's nothing scary about the Valkyries.
Well, I'm Wade.
I'm Ruby.
Hope you've learned something useful in this episode of Cinephile. You can find more on the Fun Day website. Let's make every day a fun day.
British are moving up from the south. Patton is closing in on the coast. You know we should have left 2 days ago.
No, Colonel. We keep fighting until the final victory.
North Africa is lost, and you're going to need these men a year from now to defend Berlin. We can serve Germany or the Fuhrer, not both.
It's just that sort of talk that has you sent here, Colonel.
What I said was much worse. General, I'm just trying to get these men out of here alive.
What would you have me do?
We could tell Command we're low on water. We'd have to reroute to Missoula to join the 21st Panzer. At least then we'd have a chance.
And the records will show that we didn't have enough water to reach Sidi Mansour.
I can guarantee it.
See that it's done.